What's up, beautiful people? Today I am back in the lab with some new lighting setup and a fresh polo on because today's topic is the most serious thing that I've ever talked about to date. Today we're going to talk about our addiction to our cell phones. Now, addiction, when we hear about addiction, we think of alcohol, drugs, gambling, pornography, a slew of other things, right? But the reason we think of those and they're so noticeable as addictions is because the direct effect that it has on our lives and the image that it gives off to other people. So a lot of the time we have these addictions to other things that aren't so noticeable. Well, why aren't they so noticeable? Well, one, a lot of people have this addiction. So they're hesitant to point this out as a problem because no one wants to be labeled as an addict, right? So a couple of the problems that are associated with being on your phone too much, just off the top of my head, arthritis. When you're texting all day, what do you think your thumbs are going to be like 20 years from now, 30, 40, 50 years from now? We're going to be walking around like this. Another thing is poor posture. When you're texting all the time, when you're scrolling on social media, you're not sitting with good posture. You're not standing erect and proud and confident. You're slumped. You're looking down, right? Another problem is decreased attention span, because when you get these, well, you're constantly scrolling, swiping. Your brain is like this. It doesn't know how to focus on that one thing, right? So when you're constantly doing this, what you're doing is training your brain to be in this mode for everything else you do in your life. So another thing is it provides that cheap dopamine fix. And I call it a cheap dopamine fix because it's that instant gratification of, oh, you know, you're seeing all the information, you're consuming, right? Texting, talking to other people. And that gives us a dopamine fix. Well, the problem with that is when you're doing that too often, it's taking away the dopamine. Like, you have a certain amount of dopamine that you could produce in a day. Now, what's happening is you're drawing out of that supply for cheap dopamine, right? Which leaves you struggling to find happiness and real dopamine releases in the other things that you'd be doing in your life. Last thing is decreased productivity, and this is obvious. The more time that you spend on your phone doing nothing, scrolling, the less productive you're going to be. I mean, that's pretty obvious, right? So what are some of the things that I'm doing right now to try to beat my phone addiction? Well, the first thing is charging my phone overnight when I'm done for the day, somewhere besides my nightstand. So I'll put it where it's inconvenient for me to get to it, where I have to physically get up and walk at least 15, 20 steps to go get it. Now, a couple things that helps with is, one, the biggest thing is when I wake up in the morning, I don't hit my snooze anymore because I have to physically get up, walk 15, 20 feet to shut my alarm off. Well, it's not worth going back to sleep once you're already out of that nice, warm, comfortable bed, right? So that's one of the huge differences that it's made for me so far. The other thing is when I'm laying in bed at night, I don't just reach for my phone. Oh, let me see this. Let me go check this. Let me do that. Now I reach over there and I'm like, that thing I want to do, is it really worth getting up out of bed to go do it? Odds are that it's not. And usually, almost all times, I don't do that. So that's two benefits from charging my phone overnight somewhere where it's inconvenient for me. Two, I don't use it for the first hour in the morning and the last hour of the night. So the reason for this is that you want your brain to have some calm time, right? Once we get going for the day, our brain is like a million different things coming in at once. Your brain, a healthy brain, needs some time to relax, to reset. So try to take that first hour of the day and the last hour before you go to sleep for yourself. Do something that you find productive or calming, or read a book, or I ain't gonna tell you what to do. I'm just saying it's benefited my life by trying to do this. Also, you can set screen time limits. Last thing you could do is put it on focus mode. You could put your phone to where no notifications will come up at all, no text messages during certain periods of, when you're trying to get a good amount of work done. It's something that I do a lot. You could also allow exceptions when you put it on focus mode. So, for instance, allow my wife to be able to, send me a message in case of emergency. So those are some of the things I'm doing. This is a huge epidemic that we're facing right now, and it's noticeable in children too. You could see the way kids are just consumed by technology and iPads and phones and constantly on these screens. And with a background in psychology, I think there is a major concern. There should be a major concern, especially with children, the amount of screen time that they're spending on a daily basis. It's not going to be good down the road. So if you like this video, or you found this information useful, give me a like, drop a comment. Love to keep putting out content for you guys. Stay after it.